Hey, this weather we're having right now is so weird, ain't it? Yeah, if you're like me and you live in North Texas, this is a very weird influx of weather patterns that we're having. This is what we would call false spring. And the thing about it is, if you're new to the area, if you're new to like Dallas and Plano, Richardson, and so forth, this can be a complete anomaly to you because, we'll get, these 80, 85-degree days, and then we'll get these random hits of like 40 degrees, 30 degrees, and so forth. I mean, even as late as what? April, we've seen snow out here in North Texas. So it's truly a challenge to try to grow around. And if you're like me, trust me, you want to get out here and you want to start growing some things. So what I'm going to do is kind of tell you what my plan is for what I want to grow. And then plus I'm going to tell you about what things I have growing on right now in the garden. Oh, before we do though, I want to make a quick little pit stop and take a look at my potatoes. Oh, but you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't introduce myself. Hey there. If you're new here, the name is Gray, and I'm a Texas Master Gardener growing out of Zone 8B, just south of Dallas, Texas. And I'd like for you to just consider me like your neighbor friendly neighborhood gardener, here to help you grow. And you know what? If you're somebody that likes a nice, chill atmosphere, well, maybe you can learn a thing or two, consider me your guy. But back to the subject at hand. These are my russet potatoes. And I am so impressed. Now, granted, I've been growing for over 20 years, but anytime I start getting germination with any plant for that matter, I get super excited. And now these seeded russet potatoes are potatoes that I got in the soil, I want to say maybe third or even the last week of February, and they're already showing out. But when we were talking about all the changes in our weather out here in North Texas, this is definitely one that you can still actually get into some soil. You have a window, I would say, up until about April or so. Yeah, I'm going to say April because with our potatoes, we're looking at a turnaround time to be able to harvest about 120 days or so. So you still have time to get these in the soil. So while we're anticipating being able to plant all of our cool weather crops, potatoes are definitely one that you could start right now. And so while we're waiting for our weather to fully warm up so that we can put all those warm season crops in ground, like I said, potatoes are a good one. And then let's not forget our broccoli here. But you know what? I'm gonna scratch that. I'm not sure because again, out here in North Texas, we really have some weather anomalies, and your broccoli is still going to need a couple of cold days to trigger it to start flowering, so you can start getting those heads. Now, these broccoli, I started these indoors. When did I start these? Let's say about December. I started them indoors in December, and then I transitioned them out into the garden probably the same time frame that I transitioned my potatoes out here as well. So with that being said, I'm going to see some flowering happen on these because just it's funny. 2 days ago it was like 80 degrees, right? And then we got a drop of like 40 degrees. Then I think last night it was maybe 38, 39 over here in my microclimate. So I believe that it's gotten enough of a cold trigger to be able to start that flowering to take place. So if you haven't started your broccoli already, uh, it already may be too late. This may be something that you may to need to look into like the fall or something like that to get a crop of broccoli going. But I'm really impressed with how big this broccoli is. And I mean, to me, she is truly looking gorgeous. She got some big, thick leaves on her. And I love seeing big, thick leaves on my broccoli. But now, the interesting thing with broccoli, at least out here in North Texas, is that when it starts to get too warm, that's when your broccoli is going to start bolting on you. And all bolting means is just prematurely going to seed. So your florets are going to start turning into full flowers, and then the actual edible leaves on your broccoli will start to turn bitter in taste. So that's why it's very important to try to get these in ground and going in the colder or cooler months, and not trying to wait around until like the spring. So unfortunately, our window for broccoli may have closed for you if you haven't started it already. But I can tell you what you can do right now. I'm going to be taking some butterhead lettuce and actually interplanting all throughout my broccoli. And what this is going to do is going to allow me to still benefit from having this cooler weather right now, and then plus get a couple of heads of lettuce going through. And then, I mean, who doesn't love butterhead lettuce? And now when it comes to our butterhead lettuce, this is one that we don't really need to sow really deep. So what I'm going to do with this lettuce is I'm actually just kind of rake the surface of the soil just to kind of disturb it just a little bit. I mean, because the recommended depth is like an eighth of an inch, and who's measuring that out, right? And then kind of broadcast sow my seed all throughout. Am I respecting space? No, not by any means. So this will be a great opportunity where I can get some baby greens, and then after I thin everything out a little bit, maybe get some bigger heads of my lettuce as well. Oh, you know what? Before I start to tell you about what I'm going to be growing this season, I want to take a moment and I want to talk strawberry. Look at that, weeds. That's the bane of every gardener's existence, right? Weeds. Even with raised beds, you think, oh, these raised beds are here, so I won't have to do any weeding. Ha! No, you always have to weed as a gardener. But yeah, I want to talk strawberries because I want to say that strawberries are my favorite thing to grow out of anything I grow in the garden. I love strawberries. I have a cornucopia of strawberry videos. Oh, and now with that being said, if you would like to know the recommended pH, the recommended soil recipe for your strawberries, I'm going to put a link right up here that will actually tell you exactly what kind of soil recommendation I would recommend for growing strawberries out here in North Texas. Although the strawberries that I have in this bed is going to be a mixture of Chandler strawberries along with some sequoias. Oh, and with that being said, I actually mentioned it in the last video, I think. If you are in North Texas and you live close to an Atwoods, Atwoods has 99-cent starts, and that's going to be on your strawberries. So look at this sequoia that we have on here. It already has berries on it. It's already ready to produce. So if you're looking for a jump on the growing season, I definitely recommend you check out Atwoods because, I mean, that's amazing price right there. 99 cents and already producing. Come on, son. But now when it comes to strawberries that I like growing out here in my garden, it's going to be a mixture of Camarosa, Sequoia, of course, along with Ozark Beauties, Albions, and maybe even a Camarosa. These 5 varieties of strawberries is going to be a mixture of both June bearings and ever-bearing strawberries. They have adapted well to our growing conditions, and they can actually take a lot of the heat too. And now when it comes to what I am going to be growing the rest of the spring season, I mean, it's really a lot. I'm an ambitious gardener, so it's hard to really even count it. But let's talk tomato first. So the first tomato that is a guaranteed in my garden every single year, that's going to be Roma tomatoes. And the reason why I grow Romas, if you're not familiar with me, if you're new here, because that's the first tomato I ever grew, and I grew that with my grandmother. She's the woman who taught me how to garden back when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old. And, so on just my love for her and what she brought me, she brought me over to this gardening world. I always make sure that I have aromas in my garden. So she's always here with me. And now as far as the rest of the lineup, like I said, it's quite a bit. Let's see, we have beefsteak tomatoes coming in. That's my indeterminate. We also have pink hybrid tomatoes. We have atomic grapes, pineapple pole tomatoes. And speaking of pole tomatoes, this is actually a tomato that I mentioned on the video I did with Epic Gardening on what to be growing in March. This is a black creme pole tomato that I'm super excited to be growing because it's funny. In the comment section, someone said that this tomato almost tastes like barbecue sauce on a vine. And I think that's going to be perfect for grilling season. Now, I am not starting these tomatoes in the month of March. I've already actually germinated these. These are going to be transplanted into the garden. Because when it comes to tomatoes, I mean, one, my family loves tomatoes in any shape, fashion, or form. And honestly, it is the most widely grown fruit in the entire world. We all love our tomatoes. So with that being said, I do a lot of succession planting with my tomatoes so I can have a continuous crop going on. Because now, see, if you're here in North Texas, you're going to understand with me what I'm about to say next, right? All right. So when we start getting around like the end of July and August, it's going to get ungodly hot here. I mean, yeah, ridiculously hot. And with our warm weather crops like our tomatoes, they will just shut down production when the temperatures exceed like 90 degrees. So that's why I do so many tomatoes right out the gate, succession plant a lot of them so I can kind of capitalize and get as many tomatoes that I can possibly get in a short period of time. Because let's face it, look, we have what, from April till about, like I said, maybe mid-July, that we can actually start growing our tomatoes for the spring season. But given our extended growing season, we can always grow again in fall. So even though production might shut down between, let's say, July, August, possibly even September, because you know how it is out here in Texas, we can definitely still get a fall crop going, start germinating our seeds indoors, and then we bring them out late September, October, and we'll still get tomatoes all the way up until about November or so. And then we round out the list with some San Marzanos that I have growing too. Oh, but wait, no, there's more. I can't believe that I almost forgot to mention my compost tomatoes. All right, so to bring you fully up to speed, if you're not aware of my compost tomatoes, these were tomatoes that, just like they sound, these were tomatoes that grew up out of my compost, some volunteers that just kind of presented themselves. And I saw these volunteers as an opportunity to keep on growing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you down into the greenhouse and see the progress on our compost tomatoes. Now, when it comes to these compost tomatoes, and that's what I'm gonna keep calling them because I don't know what variety they are. I don't know what tomato I put into the compost that started bringing these volunteers up. So these are tomatoes we're gonna truly have to be able to figure out what variety they are. I don't know if they're indeterminate or if they're determinate, bush or pole. I really don't know. So I'm gonna be transition these out into the main garden fairly soon because as you can see they're already flowering, they are ready to start producing, and they kind of have almost a vine kind of tendency to the way that they're growing. So I believe these may be some kind of indeterminate. They could all be San Marzanos for all I know, or maybe a cherry pole, so we're not 100% sure on that. So with that being said, make sure you turn on that bell notification so when I do find out exactly what these surprise tomatoes are, you can be the first to know. Oh, with that being said, you know what? One thing I almost forgot to mention to you. Did you know that in partnership with Epic Gardening and Home Depot, we actually have a new series that is available on the Home Depot YouTube channel? That's right. Myself, along with Chai Ming from Coastal Homestead, as well as Jock from Jock in the Garden, and then Aaron from The Impatient Gardener. And of course, I can't forget about my buddy Paul from Epic Gardening. We all went to the state of Maine and we did a magnificent transformation on this beautiful Maine homestead. And you have to see this gardening paradise that we created out there. So when you get the chance, pop on over to the Home Depot YouTube channel and definitely check out our first episode. It is available. We'll have new episodes coming out every Friday. But now, as far as what I'm going to be growing for the rest of the season, once the temperatures, of course, warm up just right for us out here in North Texas, it's going to be a cornucopia of things. Yes, and I love using the word cornucopia. It just rolls off the tongue, cornucopia. But I'm going to be growing a lot of things. Of course, I'm going to be growing my cucumbers. I have 3 different varieties that I'm growing. One being the Marketmore cucumber, as well as a couple of burpless. Can't remember the third one, but I know there's a third one in there. Then alongside that, of course, I'm going to be having my basils, my cardinal basil, my purple petra, my Genovese, maybe even some Thai basil in there, and then one of my favorites, cinnamon basil. But with all those being said, I'm also going to be planting nasturtiums. I love nasturtiums. They are a fantastic trap crop. So if you are running into pest problems, which you know we get out here in Texas, because of course, once the temperatures start warming up, all those little booger bears like coming up out of the leaves, coming up out of the ground, and start doing all of their damage on our crops. Nasturtiums is a great plant for your garden because everything loves nasturtium. It's funny because nasturtiums are almost like the chicken of the vegetable world. Everything loves to eat chickens. If you raise chickens, trust me, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Everything loves chicken. Every pest loves nasturtium. So this is a great trap crop to plant out in your garden so that they come eat these as opposed to eating the rest of your garden. And now two of the varieties that I'm going to be growing in my garden are going to be from my friends over at Botanical Interest, and it's going to be peach melba and black velvet. And I mean, one, because even though it's a great pest deterrent, nasturtiums, the flowers, the leaves, they're all edible. So they're great as a garnish for a salad and so forth. But when it comes to our black nasturtium, that black velvet, I mean, look at that. Those petals, that is beautiful right there. I can't wait to grow that because I am a sucker for color. So this kind of color growing in my garden, and then if I top it off and put it into a salad, boom, c'est très bon, you know? So yes, I am excited to be growing all the nasturtiums that I'm growing, but specifically these two varieties as well. And now, despite my excitement, this becomes the challenge for being a North Texas gardener, is that I want to get out and start growing these guys now. But when it comes to nasturtiums, they really don't like being transplanted. So I can't grow these indoors. I can't start them indoor because anytime you mess with that root ball, it really will stunt the growth of the plant. So these have to be a direct sow. And therein lies the trouble, because with these influxes in our weather, it's like, I want to get out there and garden. Like, especially my friends down there in Houston, I see them putting all their tomatoes and peppers and stuff out, but it's not wise to do it now. I mean, it's crazy because you see all of the flowers coming up on the blueberries. All of my grapes are starting to open up, but unfortunately, it's just not time for us just yet. I mean, well, I'll say it like this. It's not going to be time for me in my microclimate. I am usually about maybe 5 degrees cooler than DFW as a whole. So it may be a little bit warmer for you. Maybe you're not getting those lows in the 40s, but if it's still getting nighttime temperatures of 40 degrees and so forth, if you try to grow peppers or tomatoes right now, you truly might stunt the growth of your plants. But gardening is always about experimenting around, right? So, I mean, if you're ready, go for it by all means. But I'm just going to wait a couple of more weeks just to see what this weather does. But, ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to make the right decision on what works best for you, right? What might work for me may not work for you. And for my viewers that's up north, I know they're looking at us very envious right now. Like, hey, we're under snow. Like one of my friends, she's out in New York, and I think they still might have snow out there. So, you have to do what works best for your growing conditions and your growing environment. You know what I mean? And additionally, now, if you've made it this far in the video, you are my true diehard fans. So with that being said, if you reside anywhere near the city of Houston, Texas, on April 25th, April 26th, I will be in Houston, Texas for PlantCon Houston. It's going to be myself along with my buddy Andre the farmer. He's an amazing gardener out of Orlando, and he grows over 20 different varieties of mango. So myself and Andre the farmer, we're going to be down at Houston PlantCon. So definitely come on by, stop by. We will have a booth. We will be doing some events with a lot of the patrons at PlantCon, as well as we will be doing a couple of demonstrations. I think what we're going to be doing, I haven't planned it out. That reminds me, I need to start working on that presentation. We're going to be doing some demonstrations on how to air layer and how to do grafting for fruit trees. So if you're interested on learning how to graft fruit trees directly in person with me, as opposed to just watching on video, make sure you come on down to Houston PlantCon so you can come and hang out with us. Oh, and speaking of hanging out, all right, so if you enjoy hanging out with me and watching my videos, I greatly appreciate you, one. But if you want another opportunity to hang out with me, did you know we had a podcast? That's right. We have a podcast, and that's going to be myself, along with Andre the farmer and Derek the chocolate botanist, and it's called the Dirt on Gardening podcast. And this is a podcast where we sit down and we dispel a lot of the myths that comes with gardening, like banana water. Don't use banana water, or electroculture, and so forth. We sit down and we talk about all these different topics, as well as we give you, information on how to keep your garden thriving and growing. But here's the caveat. We also answer your direct garden questions live. So if you're interested in hanging out with us, it's a really fun time. I mean, a lot of times myself, Andre, and Derek, Derek is hilarious, by the way. The chocolate botanist, the man should be a comedian because it's just a very chill and relaxing vibe. And our podcast is now available on both Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. So if you would like to listen to us, but maybe you're at work or maybe you're in the garden, you can totally download our podcast now so that we can be there with you, hip to hip in the soil, so to speak. Also, this week, Tuesday. Now, our show comes out every Tuesday, and that's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central for us out here in Texas. And this Tuesday, we're going to have a special guest on with us, and we're going to have the creative mind behind Afia Farms. This young man is everywhere right now. He's growing out of Atlanta. He's talking about homesteading. He's talking about growing vegetables, farming, and so forth. He has a great personality, great energy. I can't wait for him to join us on the podcast this Tuesday. So make sure you check out the Dirt on Gardening podcast because we'll definitely be happy to have you with us. All right, so thus far, we've talked about the crazy weather that we have out here in North Texas, what we can be growing right now, as well as all of the different varieties of tomatoes that, hey, I love my tomatoes, all the different tomatoes that I'm growing. I told you about the Home Depot show, and the show is called From Scratch. Make sure you check that out. We've talked about the Dirt on Gardening podcast, as well as the PlantCon Houston that we're going to be at on April 25th, April 26th. But you know what? After all of that, I didn't get to ask you a question. So let me know in the comments, what are you going to be growing this spring? What do you have in your garden right now? Or are there any seeds that you're sowing? But I specifically want to know, what are you going to be growing? I'm always interested in the different plants that my gardeners are growing, because you know what? You guys give me ideas of plants that I can be planting out here in my garden. But hey, it has been amazing speaking with you as always. I'll talk to you again real soon.